Let's be real. Fast food is everywhere. It's quick, it's easy, and sometimes it's just what you need when you're in a rush. We all get it. But have you ever really stopped and wondered what's actually going on inside your body long after you've finished eating? Well, that's exactly what we're about to unpack. So we're going to answer this question head on. First, we'll look at the immediate aftermath. What happens in the first few hours after just one meal? Then, we'll zoom out and see what the real cost is when it becomes a regular habit. And trust me, it's a fascinating chain reaction that starts with the very first bite.
And this isn't some small niche habit we're talking about. Get this. On any given day, more than a third of adults eat fast food. 37%. That is a massive number, and it's why understanding the effects is so important for pretty much everyone.
All right, so let's zoom in first. We're going to follow a typical fast food meal on its journey through your body and see what it kicks off in just those first 24 hours.
The wild thing is just how quickly all of this happens. So, within the first hour, you get this huge sugar spike. All those simple carbs in the bun, the fries, the soda, your body just soaks them up instantly. It's like a tidal wave of sugar hitting your bloodstream. Your pancreas then has to go into complete overdrive, pumping out insulin to deal with it all. And you know what that leads to, right? That classic sleepy energy crash a little while later. But at the exact same time, all that saturated fat and sodium is triggering an inflammatory response all over your body.
And I really want you to remember that term, inflammatory response. Think of it like your body's internal fire alarm. A little bit of inflammation is totally normal. It helps you heal. But when that alarm is being pulled day after day because of what you're eating, well, that's when it becomes a huge problem. It basically sets the stage for much more serious long-term diseases down the road.
So that's the immediate hit from one meal. But what happens when once in a while turns into a regular thing? That's where we see the slow burn, where a simple habit starts to become a serious health risk. And this is where the real price tag becomes obvious. A consistent diet high in fast food is directly tied to some of our biggest, most serious health problems. We're talking about obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, even certain cancers and liver disease. These aren't just vague possibilities. The links are incredibly well documented. And you can see the difference so clearly right here. If you're an infrequent consumer, your risk level's kind of down here at the baseline. But for frequent consumers, that risk doesn't just climb a little bit, it skyrockets. The connection between the habit and the outcome is just undeniable. So here's the most important takeaway. One burger is not going to torpedo your health. The danger is in the pattern. It's the cumulative effect, meal after meal, week after week. Over time, that pattern literally starts to rewire your body's entire operating system, and that's what sends your risk profile through the roof.
Okay, so now let's zoom out one more time, because this isn't just about individual health choices. When you add up millions of individual habits, you get a massive bill that society as a whole has to pay.
And it turns out a massive slice of our national healthcare spending goes directly to treating these diet-related illnesses, the very ones we've been talking about. And we're not talking about a small fraction here. It is a major, major economic burden that's driven in large part by our collective diet.
This table right here shows you just how quickly the damage adds up. In just one single meal, one burger, fries, and a soda, you've already knocked out 2/3 of your daily sodium and 3/4 of your daily saturated fat. And just look at the sugar. You're at 160% of the recommended daily limit in one sitting. When you see the numbers laid out like this, you realize the long-term risk isn't some big mystery. It's just simple math.
And this quote, wow, it really puts everything into perspective. For a public health analyst to say that the impact of our diet is now on the same level as smoking, that is an absolutely staggering statement. It reframes this whole thing. It's not just about individual choices anymore, it's a massive systemic challenge.
So it all comes down to this one question. We've seen the cost to our bodies, we've seen the cost to our society. We know what we're trading for that speed and convenience. The real question we're all left with is, what's the right price to pay? What are we, as individuals and as a society, really willing to exchange for it?